I don't want to have to wonder about it. I want to know whether or not I can make a go at this and make it work. What's up, everyone? I'm Nathan Graham Davis, and I'm a Hollywood screenwriter living in Massachusetts. I rebroke in 2021, got my first movie made in 2022, and I'm leaving behind my day job to pursue this career full-time in less than a month. This is a series about my attempt to take that momentum and turn it into a full-time career, documenting the highlights and insights and challenges along the way. And along those lines, I just took a video the other day that I want to share with you now. Hey, so I am in the office of my day job today. It is March 13th, 2023, and 1 month from today, this will no longer be my office because it'll be my first day as a full-time screenwriter, producer, whatever it is that I'm going to be from there on out. It is pretty crazy to be staring that in the face, and it's really easy to reflect on it right here because, I worked my ass off to get this office. I'm in commercial lending in the banking world. And I started out in the banking world something like 16 and a half years ago as basically a teller in a branch that was in a supermarket. And I never intended to have that job. I got recruited by one of my customers at a Blockbuster. And I always thought that I was going to make it work as a filmmaker, a screenwriter, whatever, and that this would just be like my side gig for a couple of years at the most. But life is funny the way it works, and it ended up becoming a real career, and it's been an amazing career that has provided my family with a pretty good life for the last several years, which is something I'm very grateful for. This place right here is a 20-minute commute from my home, and I work from home 3 days a week anyway, so the flexibility is also great. My boss is awesome, his boss is awesome, the company's awesome, and as I say all those things, it's really weird to be giving something up that I'm incredibly grateful for and is a really good situation, and I know I should be grateful for, to go and do something entirely different that may or may not work out. I don't know where my next paycheck is coming from. It is a weird thing to stare that in the face. And I do have multiple irons in the fire. There are several things that could pay in the coming year, but I don't know if they will. And so it feels really weird to be giving this job up and giving this career that I've worked so hard at for so long at, giving that up and to go and do something with nothing close to a guarantee. But I also think that if I didn't do this now, I might never have an opportunity that's this good again. I think that I would probably question what might have happened if I had gone for it for the rest of my life. And, it may not end up being a huge regret, but definitely something I would wonder about. And I don't want to have to wonder about it. I want to know whether or not I can make a go at this and make it work. Either way, there's a lot to be grateful for. If it works out, fantastic. If it doesn't, I still had a movie come out, and that's just been an amazing experience, and I'm super happy about it. But it is like a weird time. I'm super excited to be going full-time in a month, and I'm really kind of freaked out about it. So it's an interesting thing, but the timing does feel right, so here we go. So yeah, I'm going full-time in less than a month, which is wild. It was not at all easy to make the decision to do this, and there's not exactly a template out there for making that kind of decision. So I thought I'd walk you through how I came to it and how I handled it. First of all, I want to point out that this is a very personal decision and it's not without risk, so feel free to consider this video a resource as you think through things, but don't take it as direct advice about what you should do with your own career because everyone's circumstances are different and everyone's got a different path. Also, most writers I know who went full-time did it in one of three ways. They got a huge payday off of a single sale that gave them a nice cushion. They got a TV gig that provided them with some stability and also forced them to quit their day job. Or they had some sort of other financial resource, whether it was from family or a spouse or partner with a high-paying job or money that they'd saved up over many years. And, none of those were quite the situation for me. When I jumped back into this game in 2020, my wife and I did speak about what the conditions would need to be for me to quit my job. We agreed that having $150,000 in the bank that I'd earned from screenwriting would provide us with the necessary safety net to make us feel comfortable about quitting. At WGA levels, that's a nice solid sale plus a paid rewrite step. So far, I've sold a single script. That was Aftermath, and I got the purchase price for it back in May of 2022, but it was a non-WGA deal and it was below scale for a movie of that size. I've also done 2 paid rewrites, but those were both far below scale. And after taxes and fees to reps, it comes out to far less than that agreed upon number. I did, however, put nearly every single dime of that into a savings account, and I haven't touched it since. But ever since Aftermath went into production, it's been clear that there would, in fact, be a movie coming out with my name on it. And although there was some movement on my script, The Continuum, I knew we were probably still a good ways out from a payday on that one. Even so, there was no question that in 2023, I was going to have some true momentum, and if I wasn't able to capitalize on it, I'd probably never have that good of an opportunity again. So I brought it up to my wife, and we talked about what it might look like if I left my job in advance of the movie release without that $150K in the bank. This was not an easy conversation to have. We've got 2 kids, and we just bought a house, which is a definite fixer-upper. It's under renovation right now, which is why I am actually under my son's loft bed, because this is the quietest spot in the house. And so there are critical renovations going underway right now to make it work, and those cost money. But thankfully, I'm married to someone who is incredibly supportive, and she was open to the idea of me quitting my job sooner than expected. So I agreed to sit down and budget everything out. I made a spreadsheet that broke down our finances, what we spend each month, and then subtracted my wife's monthly income from those. She's a teacher and she makes a decent income, and more importantly, her job will cover our health insurance, which is awesome, but it's still not enough to make ends meet. I added 10% to the number left over for contingencies, and then used that as the figure that I would need to contribute every single month. I also made a list of the things that I could cut back from my own spending to stretch that even further, and then I made another list of the things that I'd need to do to get us financially ready to make the leap, and the things that I'd need to do to give myself the best possible chance of generating more income as a writer. Basically, I made a business plan. I connected with an accountant who's worked with a pro writer friend of mine and asked him to help estimate how much I'd pay in taxes on the money that I'd made off of Aftermath. I also knew that I had a bonus coming in January from my day job, which I would drop into the same savings account. And by combining those 2 numbers and then dividing those by the amount of income that we would need from me every single month, I was able to conclude that we'd have enough to make things work for like 13 to 14 months. So that's not a ton of time, but with a movie coming out and a couple of legitimate irons in the fire, I felt like it was enough to make a go at it. I figured the best timing would be fairly close to when the movie's released to allow me the freedom to take as many meetings as possible and jump on any job opportunities. However, I didn't know exactly when that would be, and at the time, spring or summer of 2023 seemed like a good bet. In the fall of last year, I also signed a shopping agreement for Aether. We started taking the Continuum out to cast, and it quickly became apparent that I was going to have more work on my plate. And at the same time, I also found myself struggling with momentum because I was in this weird place where I knew I would be quitting my job at some point, and as a result, I found it challenging to be disciplined in either of my professions, and I knew I needed a date that I could focus on, so I set one that I figured would be before the movie's release, but hopefully not too far out. I also made a pretty bold decision and called my boss to tell him. There's a little risk with that kind of thing when you're doing that far out. Once somebody knows that you're on the way out, it's always possible they'll lay you off and hire a replacement or do something similarly shitty. But that said, I was pretty confident that this was the right move. When I optioned Aftermath way back in August of 2021, I gave him a heads up about that. Mostly I just didn't want him hearing about it from someone else and becoming worried that I'd quit soon or stop focusing on my day job. So I told him that, and his response was, I can't imagine someone quitting their job for a better reason, which is pretty awesome, right? So ever since then, he's been super supportive. So honestly, I was happy to do him a solid and give him like 6 months of notice. And what that allowed him to do was strategize and figure out how to adjust, his team, hire my replacement, and ensure a smooth transition. And here's the upside of that. I'm now leaving on a really good note. I've been told by my boss and by my boss's boss that there's always a position for me here, which, has been pretty nice given how volatile the film business is, and that's helpful if things don't work out. Additionally, people have actually been super excited for me, and with me being this open about it, it's just not been a big deal for me to take meetings when I've needed to take them and things like that. And with things winding down a little bit at the day job, it's now providing me with even more flexibility, which is an incredible gift as I'm heading into, a huge life change. So yeah, I'm really glad that I gave that much notice. And if you've got a similar relationship with your boss and company, it could be worth doing the same type of thing when the time comes. So now I'm less than a month out from leaving, and it's super exciting and also pretty scary, but I'm confident that it was the right call. And I don't know where my next check's coming from yet, but I've got a little over a year to figure that out, and enough things in play that I think there's a decent chance of something materializing. If it doesn't, my wife and I agreed that once there's less than 3 months worth of income in the bank, I will start looking for a job again. Hopefully it doesn't get to that, but it's important that I'm prioritizing the family above all, and that's absolutely fine by me, and it makes it easier to make that transition. And no matter what happens, I'm super grateful for all that's happened so far, and I'm really excited to make a real go at it. By the way, it's March, and this is my first video of the month because I've been so busy on multiple projects, but I did want to keep my script reads going. So something that I do kind of regularly to generate ideas is I take 2 super random movies and attempt to use them as inspiration for a logline. So if you would like a free read and notes from me, use the movies Monsters, Inc. and The Bourne Identity to generate your own idea for a logline and comment it below. I'll pick one of my favorites and I'll read your script and give you feedback. The same general rules as before apply. Make sure it's under 120 pages, not your first draft, etc. And that's it. Thanks so much, everyone, and all the best as you chase your own dreams.